Hi guys. Why is it when I have videos I'm always cut off, you can't see? I just said way too many times. Okay, so this video I wanted to share with you guys and address a problem that is pretty common around this day and age, blah blah blah. A lot of people with service dogs and people without service dogs have addressed this issue, but if you have not seen them or you just want to hear my rant about it, then here we are. So last night when I was working, there is a man that is apparently a regular at the Pizza Hut I work at. He's been coming there for years, and he brings his service dog. The service dog has an emotional support vest on, and while vests, you cannot judge a dog by the vest it is wearing, it does not, I could tell that it wasn't a service dog. So I asked him the two legal questions you are legally allowed to ask. Is it a service dog, and what tasks does it provide? So he came into the store with his dog, and I asked him, is she a service dog or an emotional support animal? And he said, she's a service dog. And I said, what tasks does she provide for you? And he yelled, that's none of your goddamn business. I wanted to film, but he wouldn't stand for it. So he got very angry and he yelled, do you want to see identification? And he shoved his identification card into my face. Like, he was like, do you want to see it? It's right here. It's right here. Service dogs do not have or need registration, identification, certification, any Asian. They don't exist, and the programs that do sell them to you or give them to you are scams. There is no paperwork for service dogs. They are trained to perform a certain task, and businesses are legally allowed to ask those two questions, and that's it. Now it's a bit different if it's a program dog, a program trained dog. So there's a couple different kinds. So a service dog can be trained by the handler, or it can go through a program where it's trained by an organization. If it's trained by the organization, there may be a certificate of graduation or something like that, but it's not a certification of justified service animal, if that makes sense. So I told him this, and I told him those registrations are fake. And he said, have you ever been to usaservicedog.org? And I said, yes, I have. And originally, before I knew about the certification scam, I actually got an identification from that website. And I ended up getting my money back when I figured out that they're scams and they just take your money, and service dogs don't have or need identification or certification. So I told him, yes, I have. And he yelled for my manager, because my manager has known him and known the dog and says he comes in here all the time. And I said, yes, but it is illegal to let an emotional support animal in public. He can be arrested and fined. And my manager said, oh, he comes here all the time, it's fine. And I said, no, it is illegal, and I will not stand for something that is illegal. And with this, he got very upset and he demanded that he ask questions, or he was arguing that I wasn't able to ask the questions that I did, and that I was making this up. So I got on my phone and I said, do you want me to pull up the ADA law and act and show you the .gov government program laws? And he said, yes, I want to see that. So I pull it up on my phone, and scroll down, and during which time when I was finding these, okay bug, just steal the show, when I was finding the information that was prominent and needed for this situation, he tried to snatch my phone from my hands, and I said, "Sir, this is my cell phone and this is not yours to take and snatch." And he's like, "I want to see," hi, how you doing? "I want to see these laws." And I said, "Yes, I'm getting to them." So I scroll down and I show him and I point, Jesus Christ, and I point, "Businesses are allowed to ask 2 questions. Is it a service dog? And what tasks do it perform?" And he gets out his glasses, he starts reading, and then he starts reading it and says, "Businesses are not allowed to ask for identification or certification," which doesn't exist, but again, if they went through a program, that's kind of what they're talking about. Or if they have an ID card that specifies, "I'm a diabetic service dog," so that if the handler passes out, they can look in the dog's vest pocket and see what the problem is to know how to help the handler. And I said, which I did not do that. And he said, the business is not allowed to ask the dog to perform its tasks. And I said, which I didn't. And there's a few other things that he read aloud, and I said, which I didn't. I asked you the 2 legal questions I'm allowed to ask you. And he said, "I take her everywhere with me." And I said, well, that is illegal. Yes, people take their dogs to stores and on walks and blah, blah, blah. But to have a vest on and to be passing your dog as an emotional support animal that you're saying is a service animal is illegal. People carry their dogs around, and that's fine, but to take it into places that do not allow dogs and telling them that it's a service dog, which it isn't, is illegal. You can go to jail and you can get fined, and it's just completely unacceptable. So he kept yelling at me quite a bit. He told me all kinds of things like I was being rude, I wasn't supposed to be doing this, this isn't something that's fair, I've been coming here for so long and this hasn't been a problem, I'm the problem, etc. And so he turned to my manager and said, "Carmen, do you want me to leave?" And she said, "No, I don't, but..." And then he's interrupted her and said, "Do you want me to leave?" And she just kind of shrugged her shoulders. I could tell that she was in an awkward position because he is a longtime customer, but it is, what I was saying is truthful and it is against the law. So he kind of just, he says that over and over, "Do you want me to leave? Do you want me to leave?" And she kind of just doesn't give an answer. So he turns around and he said, "Okay, I'm gonna go and I'm never coming back." And then my general manager comes over and says, "Hello, sir, my name is blah, blah, blah." His name is, I call him Steve. I call my manager Carmen, and I call my general manager Steve, which is not their real names, but I'm weird like that. So the general manager comes over and shakes his hand and says, "Hello, sir, I'm the general manager. My name is blah, blah, blah. I am sorry about this, but we have to follow rules and regulations." And he kind of roughly shakes his hand rudely and snaps, "I'm leaving and I'm never coming back." So he looks at his dog and he says, "Come on, Katie," and they leave the restaurant. And I kind of glance out to see what happens, and about 15 minutes later, they're still walking around the restaurant and the kind of shopping center where a bunch of restaurants are. They're kind of just staying put, kind of, I don't know, it was weird. They're just walking around and staying close to the restaurant. And I look out and I see that he has completely let his dog off leash, and she was running roughly 20 to 30 feet in front of him, and there were many cars because it was a shopping center and it was a Friday night, so there were a lot of cars, and my manager was saying, quite honestly, we do not like him. He's an asshole. He's really rude, and he's not a nice customer. And he's completely let his dog off leash. Like, the dog could get run over at any second. And she said, that idiotic people drive me crazy. And I agree, because it's not fair to the dog for the handler to be treating her like this. And I understand that he told me that she provides emotional support, and I specifically said that's an emotional support animal, which is not a service dog, and they are not allowed in public. And so I feel like it's unfair to the dog, first of all, because clearly its handler doesn't know what the fuck it's doing and is putting its dog in dangerous situations. But at the same time, the handler, the man, he needs to be informed. When I did inform him, and I wasn't rude, I was a bit hostile, but I never was not calm. I never said anything mean. I didn't call him names. I remained completely calm and straight. My tone was a bit hostile, but other than that, I was respectful and cordial. And so when I did inform him, he just got so defensive. Instead of saying, oh, let me look, okay, this is the law, I understand, he just started yelling at everybody and storming off, and then letting his dog off leash in a busy shopping center. So the bottom line is, the moral to this story is, emotional support animals are not service dogs. They cannot go out into public, especially places that say no dogs allowed. Furthermore, service dogs do not have or require identification, certification, anything like that. Because it just doesn't exist. And the programs, like I said, that sell those are scams. Service dogs do not need to perform the tasks. They do not need an ID. They do not need a vest, and that's true. Service dogs do not need to have a vest on. Service handlers mainly use the vest for being able to store things in the vest, like diabetic cards or gluten-free, things like that, and also having a handle or a leash that's more sturdy to hold on to. But one of the main reasons that service dog handlers have vests on their service dog is simply to give the public more convenience, and to reduce the petting and the distracting and things like that. But it is not lawfully required that they wear a vest. It is not required that they be on leash as long as they are staying by their handler. They don't need to be on leash. They don't need a vest. They don't need ID. They don't need XYZ. Service dogs are for the handler, to help the handler and give ability to their disability. And people who violate or misuse this is, at least to me and many of the service dog handlers, it's a huge insult and offense, because not only is it illegal and unfair for somebody to be passing a dog off as a service dog when it really isn't, and people are ignorant to that or just refuse to follow the law. But not only that, when people do this, when people violate the law, it gives the public and companies the wrong impression of service dogs, and service dog handlers kind of get a bad rep. People start to generalize about them and start to think, well, if this is how service dog handlers are going to be, then I just we won't like it. So it kind of reflects and affects actual legitimate service dog handlers, because the ones who actually need it will be given a bad attitude because the public has dealt with fake service dogs. So yes, moral of the story, like I said, emotional support animals aren't service dogs. They don't need identification, vests, leashes, blah, blah, blah. If you see or witness a service dog that is breaking any of those rules, or is growling, is running away, is pulling on the leash, is not behaving absolutely perfectly, because that's another thing, service dogs need to behave perfectly in public. If they are not doing that, then you can report it, and they will first be talked to, and if they continue, they will be arrested and fined. So I very much encourage you guys, for not only your sake and the dog's sake, but for service handlers that genuinely need their dog and are being affected by these fake people. So I very much encourage you guys to put a stop to it if you do see it, and if you have any questions or you need any help or assistance on anything, like what to say, what to do, I'm happy to help. I can post the link to the government act and website to reference for any of those who want to directly read from the website and the government law itself. But other than that, let me know if you guys need anything. I probably sound very, very loud and harsh and frustrated in this video, and I am, because it's very insulting and rude, and it affects us more than people care or think. So yes, that has been this video, and again, let me guys know if you have any questions or anything. I will be posting again tomorrow. I try to post every day, which I don't know how I've been able to do that, but somehow I've been able to do that. Let me know if there's any videos you guys would like me to see, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.